Namaste and good evening. Here we are today again. Here today we have a very special guest with us. As it's very aptly quoted, a good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. Our speaker for tonight is a visionary and is on a mission to make the world a better place for both teachers and learners. She is none other than Dr. Radha Singh. Dr. Radha is an accomplished and dynamic educationist and a mentor extraordinaire, is currently functioning as an education consultant. Her illustrious career spans 3.5 decades. Having secured a PhD in education and training, she is instrumental in intensifying the professional development of educators, principals, and teachers alike. She has conducted numerous seminars and leadership programs for principals. She is very passionately involved in setting up schools and also school empowerment, training, professional development of faculty, and has conducted more than 5,600 trainings. It could be even more for teachers and principals on various aspects of education. She is also the recipient of several awards, including the Transformational Leader Development Award by an international organization affiliated to the UN in Delhi on the occasion of the World Environment Day, and Education Icon 2018 for her remarkable contribution to the field of education and valuable services to the community as an educator for outstanding merit. Excellent leadership and interpersonal skills, good organizational skills, and her ability to motivate and mobilize large teams have kept her in good stead in implementing educational policies. Dr. Radha, and multifaceted personality, was also a highly accomplished person during her young days, a fashion show choreographer, a good cook. She has also made films for community awareness on health and wellness and a few educational films for children. She has also conducted many parenting workshops, leaving parents asking for more. Being endowed with self driven passion and a keen observer, Dr. Radha is a woman of great originality and and is endowed with the ability to make use of her life experiences to empower girls and women to break the glass ceiling and recognize that they are valuable and precious. Literacy and education being key to her empowerment. To this empowerment, she began her journey to empower women in semi urban areas of Rajasthan and Punjab with education and put them on the path of economic freedom. Let's welcome Dr. Radha. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
ma'am.
Good evening,
And
Reena ma'am, and good evening to everybody who's here on this platform today. It's a pleasure joining you, and I think it's an honor to share my views on your platform, Reena ji. It's always been a fantastic experience getting associated to you on many fronts, whether it's your initiatives or your activities, whatever you're doing, wherever you involve me. I think it's been a very joyous experience for me, and I'd like to thank you, from the core of my heart. You know, the platforms you create are very unique, and this is one such. So, what are we talking about today, Reena ji?
first of all, I would like to thank you for accepting my invitation at a very short notice. And
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Yeah.
And it's always been a pleasure to have you here at any of the C's talks. I think I've not missed any of the talks without you.
I haven't missed any as well. I've been there with you all the time. You get to speak to
And yes,
people.
let me tell you one more thing. Dr. Radha is directly associated with our C's Global Institute, and she has been guiding us, especially me, at all fronts. She's an amazing
Yes.
person, a very, very focused person who throws light on the path you walk. So, ma'am, today here we are discussing about pandemic versus education.
Okay.
It's like it further goes hope to cope up and normalize. Because now We were all set to reopen
Okay.
schools. We were all set to do everything, but we had to take a U-turn.
Yes.
And that U-turn was not very good U-turn. It was a very bad U-turn where so many people lost their lives to COVID. There have been so many mishaps, but still, we educators have not given up. We are still finding means and ways to move ahead. So, I would request you to please throw some
True.
light on our topic today, pandemic versus education. Hope to cope up and normalize.
Okay. Thanks, Reena. And this happens to be a topic which is very much in discussion in the education circles, including all the stakeholders, the parents, teachers, everybody, trying to talk about what is going to be the future of education after probably we overcome the peak of the pandemic. One thing that we understand from the medical professions is this pandemic is not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a while. And considering the way it has impacted lives, it has changed many lives, and it's given us a new normal. I think it is only appropriate for all of us, leave alone teachers or anybody, all of us, the entire humanity, to learn to live with this kind of a change that is brought into our lives. We have no way out. We have to just cope with it. And how we cope is going to determine how comfortable we are going to be in future. Because we have seen it's a very disturbing time. Many have lost people, their loved ones, children, due to various reasons, are undergoing a lot of anxiety. They're feeling loneliness. There's a lot that's happening in everybody's life. We need to all remember we are not the only ones who are facing it. The entire humanity is facing it. Probably the people who are directly impacted by some certain what you can say aggravations, probably they have faced a little more than the others, but the entire humanity is facing a problem. But we as teachers, we as educators, we as people who are going to be grooming our young children, one thing that is more pertinent to us is we have to stay ahead and we have to stay vigilant for our children, because we are going to be grooming them. So whatever the pandemic is doing to many of us, we as educators and adults, we have a moral obligation towards the young ones who are not mature enough to handle this environment, the new normal that is come into our lives so abruptly and so suddenly, you know. And suddenly one fine morning we realize, okay, there is a lockdown, you're not going here, you're not going there. The things which children were told to do, for example, greet people, give grandparents a hug, everything was a pass. Everything is a pass now. Now we only tell them stay away. Where at one point of time, we always said, be positive, think positive. Now, positive has a completely different meaning connotation. Like, negative sounds better now. So, with that kind of a radical change, we as adults are challenged. So, our children are more challenged than we are, I think, as adults. Now, we need to gain control over our new normal. We need to be motivated and driven to modify our dealings, our bearings, and the way we cope up with this new normal, to make sure that our children are going to have lives a little easier than they are having now. So now it will start from our schooling, then parents, what are they going to be doing at home? How are they going to do with their children? And then some teachers who are parents and some parents who are teachers, vis-a-vis whichever, we need to make sure that we are going to try and smoothen this entire process of this new normal and try to have lives a little easier than it is now. So we overcome these challenges, we overcome these anxiety issues, loneliness issues, the issues which are related to the isolation and which are not directly symptoms of COVID. COVID symptoms can be more medical, but these are not medical symptoms. These are all mental wellness. So we need to now focus on this mental wellness, which seems to be a spillover of the COVID. Working on those level, the education has changed. A lot has changed here. We need to work.
Ma'am, right now we were talking about, you mentioned that there are too many psychological mental blocks that we as parents and teachers
Yeah,
need to remove in the kids.
yeah,
What should be the approach of teachers and psychologists towards the impact? Because now the kids were happy that they are going to go out and play. Now again, what has happened is they are back into the four walls. They are thinking about कि हम किस तरह से इस पिंजरे से बाहर निकलेंगे. That is what they call it,
correct.
पिंजरा.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
How are we going to
So
go out? Like when these kids are growing up, right? They are missing on their friends. They are missing on everything that a teenager or a young child should get. There are some kids, who have started learning online, who started the schooling online.
yeah,
So, ma'am, how are we going to
yes.
remove these mental blocks? How are we going to help them out?
See, first we need to understand that even in the normal circumstance, even in the normal lives, in the best of the circumstances, children typically need a lot of reassurance. And in the midst of this pandemic, the need for reassurance has grown exponentially. So if they're marinated in fear all the time, like, they're surrounded by fear, you put on the TV, this COVID, you meet somebody over the phone, they're inquiring about COVID, wellness, those kind of things. So children are only hearing, that's why I said marinated. They are living in the fear of not getting, impacted by the COVID. And under those circumstances, some of these capacities of children, typically the problem solving or to take decision, or to some extent even showing compassion, empathy, all those faculties get impacted. So what is it that we can do as adults? I think we need to teach children how to cope with this uncertainty and start getting used to the new normal. So, what is the first thing that we need to do? We need to prioritize on relationships. That means, as an educator, we need to reaffirm to the child that we value the student's well-being above the academic performance. We are not going to be talking to the child only of academic performance. That can come later. At this moment, the most important thing is that the child should know somebody is bothered about me and my well-being, and that well-being probably is the teacher also, because the child with the mother all day, their equation, their relationships, and their patience and the bandwidth somehow gets challenged. And I think the teacher here comes in as a savior. So under the circumstances, I think it is very important that a teacher probably prioritizes on relationships, try to convince and reassure a child that she is there for him or her, he can connect
Ma'am,
as and when
I have a
it is
question here.
required. It is
I
important for her to create that initiation. Now we are doing a lot of online education, all the learning has gone online. The brick and mortar school appears to be a distance past for a while. So under these circumstances, when we are teaching children online, I think before you get into teaching a lesson, probably you can have a very open-ended conversation, probably asking them what is the best moment they had over the last couple of days, what is the best thing that they did, what is the best thing that they ate, nice thing, what are the happy moment they just shared with the family, and a lot of those kind of things. That what happens when you ask this kind of a question, that fear element gets distant. There is a dilution of that fear that, okay, again, I hope you're not going to talk pandemic. There is something nice that we can talk. So if a teacher is going to be doing this, I think it's important again on the flip side for the teacher also to maintain great mental health. She needs to energize herself because everybody comes from a
That's
place
what
of
the
fear.
next question I
She
was
needs
about
to
to come to.
energize herself
That
because
was the
everybody
next
comes from
question. That was the
yeah,
next question I
because
was going to come to.
yeah.
Like
Okay.
with
So
this,
what happens here is,
with this
huh?
pandemic, Like the most affected are just three people:
Yeah.
teachers, students, and parents.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So now here, huh? Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Go on.
yeah. So, what should the teachers, parents do collectively so that they can work together for the holistic development of children? Because till now, parents have been blaming teachers, teachers have been blaming parents. They are doing this, they are doing that. When we were kids, I still remember, like I'm repeating the words again, like our parents, they used to tell us, ठीक है गलती करो स्कूल जाके बताएंगे. And
Hmm.
today what happens is, अच्छा ये बोला,
Yeah.
right? Though this sentence is not correct every time, there are incidents where children have been really nagged, tagged, and branded, and then the kids, they are on the verge of just complete breakdown, where the parents need to step in. But now, once we are planning to walk towards and hoping to walk towards normalcy, how will things be in place?
Okay, now what happens is, with the pandemic still there, and we don't know when the schools will reopen and when children will go to school. We have a good length of time because, again, like I said, it's still very uncertain how things will pan out. Under the circumstances, to maintain sanity and well-being, mental well-being of the child, I think the first thing is we need to clamp down on the pressure that's there on the child. We are not saying now that you do this will happen to you, do that will happen, because we know everybody is short of patience and flexibility at this point of time. The child has doesn't have too much control over his own emotions, and he is operating from a very different domain. He is not in the same domain as you know so he either is in a domain where he is fighting. He has an option between fight, flight, or freeze, and that may not be a very happy situation for the parent. So I think as a mature and very proactive adult, we need to make sure that this pressure on the child is going to tamp down. We need to clamp down on this pressure. What is that little bit that we can do? Instead of just having to tell them, do this, we need to teach children to work and express on their own. We need to empower children. We need to probably, since they come from a different background, like, see, everybody has a different bad story. Like, not all children have the same bad story. So a teacher may not know. So the best thing is we need to get into a situation where the children are taught to give back. Number one, what do we mean by give back? When we say give back, probably try to get engaged in some kind of an activity which is going to be pleasing the people around them, which gives pleasure to a child. Like, if there is a family, talk well, give them a card, do a drawing for them, narrate a joke. There's a meme, have a pajama, dessert over them. You can have any kind of engagement where the connect between the students, the child at home, who is a student for you, that gets developed. So one way of empowering students will be to be either academically or behaviorally. When we say academically, we can probably give them more towards the family. Like, you can have small passion project. Then they can create their own family portfolios in whichever way they think it is working for them. They can even swap roles where probably one student can take the responsibility to teach a few others who are willing to listen to them, create a small compassion groups. Lot of things a teacher can do to make sure that the child gets that feel good factor. So the more the child feels good about being able to perform well, automatically the insufficiencies that the child feels, that the absence of control over himself, and the feeling of loneliness, anxiety, they all will get reduced to a very large extent. And once children are at peace, I think the mothers themselves will agree that when the child is at peace, she is at peace too. She's not getting agitated. So it is very important for both adults, to ensure that the child is number one, empowered, and number two, regularly foster a social connect. We know there is a social distancing, physical distancing, quarantine, isolation, a lot of things are happening, lockdown. So now what? The child is already missing his friends because that is his normal way of life. He is missing and he doesn't know why he's missing. He doesn't know what is this COVID. The younger ones, probably the class 6, class 7, they're having an overdose of television. They may know. But what about the much younger ones? They don't know. What are they going to do? They're wondering, why am I confined to the house? So I think it is very essential for the parents to have video call, or you have a Zoom meeting with family, friends, create a small party, online party. The teachers can support parents on this front. So together, parents and teachers can create an environment which may look normal, where the child is able to speak to his friends, probably see something nice his friend has done. They can share some nice achievements with their friend. They can talk, they can chat, laugh. There's a lot that they can do. And I think that goes a long way in maintaining the mental wellness in little children. And as parents, what happens, then you may say that it's too challenging. I can't keep doing it on a daily basis. You don't need to do that any extra effort to keep little children happy. Just connect them over a nice word, a word of praise, small activity where the children are given to draw, color. You keep them engaged, and I think they are fine. They don't ask for more. Unless, of course, children are very hyperactive. And children who are very hyperactive, then probably then you connect them once in a while, speak to their friends, talk to them. There's a lot you can do. And I think it's time for parents and teachers as adults to be a little creative about how you can engage your children. Because this time is very difficult, and the more we empower ourselves as an adult, we won't be able to empower the child to overcome this uncertain time. And in families where there has been a loss of a loved one, it is even more difficult. Parents are in the edges, and when the children are demanding no answers for a lot of questions, I think staying mood in the moment, with the moment, is very important at that time. I think it's an adult who plays a very big role here.
So, in a way, we can say now it's time, it's high time rather, for teachers and parents to come together and start working together for the upliftment and holistic development of our children rather than being their children.
Yeah, yeah, we have to, because here, the more you connect with each other, for example, I today, I may not be feeling that bad. For example, there may be another friend of mine who is absolutely feeling lousy, rotten. Now she's not able to deliver properly. She can reach out to me. I said together we need to support each other to come out of this the pandemic situation that we are all in. We cannot say it's not my job. There's nothing like my job and your job. It is our children. We need to do it together. If I don't have
Like,
the
in
time,
other
help.
words, we can say, yeah, that's it. That's what I
Sorry?
was about. The now, in other words, we can say, like, now it's time for us to shout out at each other and say, we need your help. Please come and help.
Yes. There is no wrong. See, it is okay not to feel okay. In today's time, it is absolutely okay to say, I'm not feeling okay. It's just okay. Because there are too many like this. I think we need to be there for each other as a counselor, as a friend, as a advisor. I think it needs a lot. And the more we cater to it, the more we get involved in these kind of activities, I think it becomes a better situation where we are able to at least fight the mental wellness. We need to remain mentally fit. We are not going to be sick about a lot of things. So I think it is okay to say, I'm not feeling okay today. Guys, I need help. Please help me. I'm out of ideas today. It's not just working for me. I was unwell since morning, to be honest with you, Reena ji. I was very unwell since morning. and I needed to talk, and you as well, right? I think it is very important to reach out. And that brief talk that we had for about 10 minutes, when you said, no, you do this, you do that, da, 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 a lot of things, I think it just worked. It worked. Not that, uh, we are professionals or anything. We are just looking for somebody who will listen to us,
Whom
who is
we
going
can,
to be
yes.
a patient listener.
We need to give each other a listening ear, a lending
Absolutely.
hand, and a shoulder where you can, though virtually, like we need
Yes,
to
we
be
need,
available for each other
to,
in these trying times.
yes, we need to be available for each other. And the same thing has to be done with children also.
Yes.
Get them to talk to their friends, meet their friends. Don't go to anybody's house. Please. This is exactly what technology has done. It's consolidated so much. It has brought even distances closer. You have friends and relatives who are in the US or wherever they are. You can connect with them, speak to them. So there is some kind of closeness there. We are separated by miles and miles. At least by heart, we feel we are closer. And speaking to somebody can be a very joyous moment. And we have n number of activities where, children are taken on a virtual trip of a zoo, of a museum, or there are so many things that are happening on the OTT platform also, a lot of options for children to get engaged in games. There's a lot we can do. I think we just need to get a little creative about it. And if you think you're short of creativity for whatever reasons, please reach out. There's nothing wrong. And in today's shunning others, or actually telling them bluntly, I have no time, I'm too busy. I think, fortunately for all of us, we are there. If I'm not there, there's somebody else who's there. So I think we are there for each other, and it is together that we can overcome this entire situation of
And
education.
we will definitely, we can and we will definitely make a difference.
Yes,
We just need to have that grit in us that yes, I have
yes.
to do it. That's it. So ma'am, one more thing,
Yeah. See, medically, there is very little lay people can do except taking precautions. But for mental health, I think we can be there for each other. We can foster social connections. We can promote self care. You can all probably do aerobics or yoga together. Why not? Get online. Come on, let's all do yoga together. So, 4, 5 of them doing yoga together. Why not? It's a lovely thing to do. See, we need to remember that if you are an empty vessel, you can give nothing. An empty vessel, there is nothing that you have to give. It's just a vessel there. As an adult, we cannot afford to become empty vessels. We need to keep on replenishing and filling in our vessels. So when it is required, we are there to share it with people who are reaching out to us. I think that is very important. And the next thing is we need to focus a lot on simplicity and joy. We need to make sure that we are going to be happy. And whatever makes you happy, I think we need to get into doing. And there are a lot of options. And like I said, a lot of ideas. Reach out, talk to your friend, ask her, come on, my dear, help me. I need help. I need some boost today. So you be my booster. So I think it works. I think together we need to stay fit to make sure that mental wellness is maintained in these challenging times. We can't be cocooned.
yeah, we need to move out of that cocoon and try and spread our wings and fly high so that we can
Yes,
help each other. And I think that is what
you have to help.
one of my poems also say that, give me wings to fly.
Oh,
And yeah, uh,
yes, I
now,
remember. I said your trophy also had wings, right? I
yes,
remember. Yes, I remember your trophy that had wings. Yes, I think this is exactly what needs to be done at this point of time. We cannot be confined to our own self. See, brooding is only going to make you feel lousy about it. But that doesn't mean
yes,
you'll move away. Now, when we are
very
talking
true.
about brooding, yeah, we have to accept, admit it's there. Don't live in denial. It's there. But even children need to know the end to an emotion. It's like a tunnel, you know? Being emotional is like being inside a tunnel. Till you get out of it, there is no outcome. There is no outlet for your emotion. If you want to come to an end, you have to go through the tunnel. You can't break the tunnel and come out. So emotions are like, if you're into it, if there's an emotion, you are into the tunnel, and you have to walk your way through the tunnel till you see the light at the end of the tunnel. There is
Exactly.
no shortcut to this. So this is that empowerment we need to give. I'm not trying to tell you that please torture the child. No, you stand with the child, handhold, be there for him, and let him gaze through and walk through this entire journey. And that's when he'll find himself coming out richer and more strong as compared to what he was, better than
Yes.
he was. We need to make them strong
Yes.
by
Very
simply covering them and telling them, don't look there, it's all bad. May not work, because that's a harsh reality they have to face. Now, no hugging, kissing, no hugging, kissing, chapter over. Now you can't say, no, because we ourselves don't know when are we going to be getting our children to go about hugging everybody. At one time, we said hugging was a nice thing, go give them a hug. But now, no hugging, stay away. So now we don't know when we're going to, there's going to be a reversal. So I think we need to go with it. And if you put it in age appropriate language and routine and regimen, they learn. Children are smart, they understand. There are so many other things that they can do. Why is hugging the only thing that they need to do? No, they can do so many other things. So I think
yes.
we need to create it for them. Yeah.
We need to create it for them, ma'am. Now, as we are back to square one,
Yeah.
right? Square
Yeah.
one of square one. By square one, I mean the way we were teaching earlier. We are back to that, right?
Yeah.
Again, we are virtual. We never stop, but yes, some of the schools for the higher classes did open, and that is where they started interacting. So now, what, according to you, should be the method of teaching with the new normal that is here now? Again, a new normal that is going to be almost 1.5 year old.
Yeah.
So, because still, though they are working very hard, they are doing everything, but still those results are missing.
Yes. See, I'd like to give you my opinion on this entire scenario. We don't know when it is going to normalize. We don't know if this is going to be the future, or probably we'll go back to what it was sometime back and about 2 years back. No idea. But from what we understand, and we listen to some specialists speaking, I understand probably this is this new normal is here to stay. What is going to be the new normal? I think education now cannot be within the brick and mortar school. It cannot be, because many parents will be very skeptical or very tentative about sending their little ones to a brick and mortar school. In that case, we don't say that we are going to deprive the child of education. What do? Here we give him an alternative mode of education that will be getting educated from home. So that, or if things ease out, we maybe have an option of schooling the hybrid way. That is probably a couple of days in a week we come to school, and the remainder we are going to do whatever from the confines and safety of our homes, the comfort of our homes. So we are all very familiar with the brick and mortar school and how we do it. Our teachers are far too familiar. Now, what is it that we need to do? We may have managed the online lessons last year, but I don't think we did it to the best of our abilities. I think we can all do better than last year. And if it is going to continue this way, I don't think what we did is ultimate. There are so many other things which we could have done, which we didn't do because we didn't know. We were not aware. Teachers were not trained that way. Like I said, it began all too suddenly, and teachers were told, go home and teach online. So this entire transition from a brick and mortar school to a virtual school, the ride was very bumpy and very choppy. And many of them
Still, it's
succeeded in
not
doing,
smooth
and
either.
many,
And it's not smooth either,
it
ma'am.
is still not smooth.
It's not smooth.
Absolutely. It is still not smooth. It is still very choppy. But then, what are we doing to help our teachers? It is our job now as probably seniors. We need to put in our ideas and a mind together to see how are they going to adjust to this new normal. So now what is going to happen when everybody is now trying to settle into this new normal? Even our teachers are trying to settle in here. So what is it that we can do? The first thing that we can probably get into the hybrid mode of teaching, where you will do some part, like if you have an option to do in the brick and mortar and the other from the confines of the home. Like we said, brick and mortar, like I told you, they know it. Now the one thing that they don't know is how are they going to manage their lessons from the online mode. So what do we need to do? We need to empower them with digital training. We need to teach them more techniques. We need to make them very comfortable that are new, which are typically used for online teaching, to bring this online teaching to the real classroom teaching as far as possible, because it can't be the same, but we can at least make it come as close as possible to the actual brick and mortar school. How do we do that? We can have platforms where children can interact with their friends, work together in small group activities. Small group activities, they can collaborate with friends, they can interact with the teacher, they can have circle times with the teacher. The games teacher can do some games online. Then you have your art and craft teacher getting that. So we have multiple tools that can be used, which probably the teachers have to be now empowered with. They need to have some rigorous trainings which are associated with technology. They have to learn about this technological empowerment, the tools and the techniques. That is number one that they need to do. And the next thing that they can probably try to do is practically focusing. See, this is a very I'd rather consider that this is a stress time. This is a very stressful time. It's not easy for anybody, even being a student or even a teacher. Because when a teacher is going to give some activity online, whether it's an assignment or a test or whatever it is, she wouldn't even know in many cases if it was done by the student independently or there was a lot of assistance that was given to the child. We really don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of tentativity. There's no flexibility here. The teacher knows only one thing: I gave work, I need to have it corrected. So I personally feel, instead of typically getting into the grading mode for every assessment or every activity that you give, I think if you can indulge in a lot of formative assessments, which are more flexible, which have very less of the stress stake, they're tension free, and they give a lot of constructive feedback to a teacher. What
Right.
happens here is now we are going to be child differently. They're not going to be doing it and they're not going to be typically grading. Because, see, we have other issues of connectivity, lack of devices, a lot of those kind of things. Under those circumstances, we don't know why the child didn't perform well. And it becomes very challenging for the teacher to go about asking every student, did you have connectivity? Did you do it properly? Could you see me? Could you not see me? Why you didn't? A lot of those kind of things. We
So,
do
ma'am,
hear a lot of things.
sorry to
So I
interrupt.
think getting into
Sorry to interrupt.
a formative
Uh,
assessment mode probably more rewarding. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, tell
sorry to
me.
interrupt. Just 3 4 sentences before we were speaking about the assessment. Right now, also we are
Yeah.
speaking about it,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
Normally, what is done is the child has to sit in front of the camera and write.
Yes.
Right. Do you think that is the proper way of assessment?
Uh,
The child can have another screen open on the screen where he has the answers,
Absolutely. Yes. That's what I'm telling you.
or
So
it
now
can
you
be
tell me,
somebody is standing there and that person is right.
behind the camera,
Exactly.
behind the camera, and you'll never know. So how valid is this kind of assessment? So I'd rather say it is better to have a formative assessment which is very continuous, where the teacher is observing the child and she's making anecdotal records of his performance. How is the child doing through the year? And it's not one time you give him a question where and you expect him to write an answer. So if you have these formative modes, I think those evaluations are less stressful and there are lower stakes. Like, there are lower chances of probably the child actually flunking, because he can't be a total null and void. He's done something. The only thing is probably whether he did it 40% or 60%. So the question of completely ducking in a examination doesn't arise. So it is less threatening for a child to attempt a formative examination where even the teacher knows what's happening and it's over a period of time, and you get a lot of constructive and immediate feedback. And even the teacher can give you constructive feedback to the student. So this fear of whether he did it now honestly, or there was some kind of cheating that is going on, all those things go away. And at this point of time, I think your grades are the last thing that a teacher or anybody should even think about. Your grades can wait. You've got a long time for grades to come up and go. But
Grades
at
and
the same time, it
percentages.
is very important for your teachers, for adults, to make sure that the mental and emotional well-being of the child is being maintained. We are not challenging. Now let's look at it this way. If there is a child who is not going to do well and we are going to declare the result and say that the child failed, are we in less grief that we want one more there? I don't think there's too much happening around us. You ask me, I'll say don't bother these children. Let them be. Assess them in multiple other ways. Now, if I'm going to ask a child to recite, for example, now, if he's going to be reciting, it has to be smooth recitation, right? Now, he can't be prompted. The
Okay.
child can't listen to a prompt from somebody wherever they are. So you can immediately make out if he's stopping and
Exactly.
looking around that there is somebody who's prompting. So you know what kind of an assessment that is, right? So we need to get into alternative
Practical
modes of
assessment is
assessment.
better, ma'am.
We need to look
Yes,
at the alternative
definitely.
modes now. Don't get into your paper and pen. That can all wait. All that can wait. Look into the mental well-being, the emotional well-being. Keep them cheerful. Automatically, then one fine day when you get up and say, "I'm going to give you an examination," I'm sure he's going to be fine. Let's not bother them now. I think they can wait. Yeah, there's a long way to go.
There's a long way. Now, ma'am, our topic says, hope to cope up and normalize. So
Yes.
once we start normalizing, definitely the
Yeah.
school will, the kids will be the first one who would just like to run away to school. They
Sure.
won't even they won't even wait, like,
Yes.
because now they are fed up. So,
Yes.
ma'am,
Actually.
what should be the precautions and the methods that schools can adopt to bring normalcy?
Now, when we are talking about schools reopening, like I told you, in all probability, we are going to be shifting over to the blended learning and hybrid schools. I see this a reality. And I think many of them will opt for this. Because, like I said even before, this pandemic is going nowhere. Probably the intensity will go down. It will be there, and the kind of virus that we are talking, no, we are still not able to define how it is happening, why is it happening, what should I do to keep myself safe, except three things. Keep yourself masked nicely at all times. Maintain distance. Don't pile on each other. Stay away from each other. And keep washing your hands regularly and repeatedly. These are three things we are talking again and again. So now, if the schools reopen, they have to make sure that things are going to happen. And schools which are large, where the student strength is more than about 1,000, 2,000, and the classrooms have 40 children, where is a question of distancing? Are we going to be sitting on a desk? Are we talking about distancing? Where is the distancing happening? No distancing. Then this is something going to be related to so many other super spreader activities that we had. And many schools where we had opened about 3 months back, many turned back to say we had casualties in children. You know why? The school which we opened could not maintain COVID protocol, and that became a big issue. became another super spreader activity. We wouldn't want that happening one more time. What happened is fine. We need to learn from our mistakes. And I think when we tell children, अपनी गलतियों से सीखो, I think we need to do that as well. अपनी गलतियों से सीखो. गलती की school इतनी बुरी तरह से खोल के get everybody in at the same time. No, get them in slots. If at all you think it is very important that they have to come, get them in small batches where you can maintain social distancing and make sure that you're not going to be having them crowding into a classroom. Teach them the maintaining distance. They have to be walking at a distance from each other. They don't share food. They're not sharing a drink. That's all a pass. They're not going to be doing anything of that kind. They're not going to take away the mask. They have to be washing their hands many times, multiple times. They have to be taught these protocols, and the next thing that they need to be taught is you have to be very responsible. Now, lecturing responsibility, it's not going to help anybody. So what do? Children have to be given those kind of activities which they exhibit responsibility. We need to have such routines. Now, there was a time where probably we tell one child, you go ahead and you are responsible to be doing a lot of those kind of activities. I think those need not happen. Children need not be moving around so much. Keep them in well ventilated, well lit rooms. It's not closed at all. Then there are fewer children there, and the teacher is also masked. She's displaying all these kind of basic as a part of COVID protocol. So the children are copying the teacher. She's a role model. She wants children to do what she's doing. All those kind of activities, and reduce the movement in the school. Even if there has to be library or there has to be drawing, they need not go to those laboratories. The little children especially, the material supplies can come to the room, and they can be engaged in the room. Now when you're going to be getting typically when we say half the class comes on a Monday and the half the class comes on Tuesday, at that point of then probably what you can do is you can record the lesson that was done on a Monday, and the children who are there in the house are doing online lesson, so they don't miss out anything. So it is actual recording of the classroom lesson which has happened. So the teacher is going to be teaching the lesson which is going to be recorded, and the children at home are going to be doing offline. Sorry, they'll be doing online while the offline lessons are going on. Then on Tuesday there's a swap. The children who were on Tuesday. So what is happening? You're getting a chance for children to be alternating coming to school. So you're maintaining a lot of those protocols. You do the same thing with the senior children also. And after every batch, you need to make sure that you're sanitizing the place and make sure that nobody from outside will be permitted to come into the school campus, unless, of course, it's very important, or you take them on your video call or whatever. So we are not going to let anybody from outside temperature checks. You need to maintain a lot of protocol. So it will be a huge challenge, but then if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. And all of us need to make sure that we practice protocol. So we know these are the only three things, like I said, masking, hand washing, distancing. These are the only three things that at this moment probably can keep us relatively safe. So it needs to be practiced. If school children have to come back to school, which they're waiting to come, I know many of our friends are having children who want kab school khulega, hame school jana hai, friends ko milna hai. So this kind of a loneliness probably, I think parents can work for the moment to get them meet their friends online, create a small Zoom party for them, pajama party, whatever, dessert party, coffee party, hot chocolate party, whatever. Create something very interesting and get them engaged. But this blended learning and this hybrid schooling, I feel, is going to be the only way out. We can't say that, online lessons are not going to be continued.
So, ma'am, last question. What do you think is the future of virtual schools in the coming 3 to 4 years?
That is the best mode. according to me. Because I think children can see in the homeschooling what's going to happen. Children are going to be doing exactly what's happening in brick and mortar school. The only thing that will be missing is probably the teacher will not be standing next to the or her on her back and complimenting her for work. But then there are alternative methods she can do. Like we have multiple education solution systems which give you this option. So you're not going to miss anything out. So I think this distance and remote learning system that we have, which has gotten created by, you may say, by luck or by fate, or by we are tricked into it, or whatever it was, it is here to be one mode of education which probably will be appreciated by many people for multiple reasons. Even earlier, before the pandemic, I know many parents who love to have the children homeschooled because the child was probably budding. I had one. The child was a budding gymnast, and there was another one who was a skater. So they were having trainings that were happening in times which would clash with the school. So the child would miss school, number one, during rehearsals, number two, if they want to participate in a competition or an event. So now, what do? We know many sports persons have given up education because they didn't have this option of homeschooling. This virtual education gives them a super platform to get educated while pursuing a passion. So they do all the rehearsals when they're happening, they go for the competitions when they're happening, but they're not missing out on lessons because they're getting their lessons either as a recording, or they can go online and study from wherever they are, even if there's an hour that they get. So the disruption in their education doesn't happen. They are completely there, they are learning. So if the children are given this kind of an opportunity, I think there is a balance we can make for the children, especially who want to pursue a passion, and the education which probably would get disrupted if we did not give them this platform. Otherwise, they can't do both.
Right.
You see
Ma'am,
many people who are pursuing sports activities, all the training is in the morning. They miss school.
yeah, yes.
So I think this is a superior platform. It just got to happen. It has to happen. I think this is, I personally, given a choice, I like this platform. I think children study at their pace. They want to repeat the lesson. They do it multiple times, do it two times, three times, one more time. Then the parents also say, oh, there's a lot. And I think it develops a great bonding between the parents or the adult who's sitting and explaining the lessons, trying to help them with technology. I think it's a fabulous platform. I like it. That's a great
I think
concept.
that is one of the
Schooling from
reasons. I think that is one of the reasons you didn't give it a second thought and said, okay, fine, let's go and do it.
yes. Given a choice, I would have sat at home and studied also, but we didn't have any option. So now when people ask me, I say, if the child has a passion and you think he can develop that passion as a, it can become a vocation for him, or it can become a career for him, I think do it. Now you look at your, now let me go on to the lighter side. Now look at your, there's a reality show children. Do you think they're going to school? They're all from remote places. Do you think they're going to school? It's gone now for them. Now, suppose I take all these reality school show children and I tell them, come on, kids, you have lessons now. 1 घंटा पढ़ाई करो, चलो 2 घंटा पढ़ाई करो. Cool. Reena ma'am, you have remote schooling option, right? Try and contact, get children on board. Because they are missing out on lessons, and if you can give them, why not? And I think one of your probably directors is also in that line who can probably help you get those children along. You see India's best dancer, super dancer, whatever, little children not going to school. Why not go to school? Is it only important to be going around Bombay Chowpatty, Juhu Beach, chaat papdi khaya, and no lessons? Come on, no. At least 1 hour, I think little bit of some learning they can do. There are small children, 6 years, 7 years, little performers. Why should they
Yes.
not be doing? I think please think about it if you can, since you're at that platform. Go ahead. I think you can. I think that will you'll be doing a
That
service to
does
those
make
children.
sense. That does make sense. Let's see how we
Yeah,
can go
try
ahead
it.
with that. Let's see how we can go
Yes,
ahead with
see
that.
if you can do it. Yeah, it is just a
Yeah.
suggestion. See if it is possible.
Yes, we can definitely try.
I don't know how
It
much will
takes
be possible, but why not?
we can
Yeah, why
definitely
not?
try,
Yeah.
because trying does not come from like, we don't have to purchase what we have to try.
Yes, it doesn't cost
It's our
anything.
effort. It's our effort,
Yeah,
and that
it's
that
just
is
an
the
effort.
main thing. Exactly.
Absolutely. And it doesn't cost money. So why not? Let's do it.
Yes.
I think you should.
Let's see how we can do it. Let's
Yeah.
see. But
Yeah.
the thing is that it's not easy. It's not an easy path to walk. But yes, with the people like you and most of our directors,
Yeah.
we can
Great
definitely
effort.
do it.
Yeah.
So I think
Wherever possible.
with this note, uh, nothing is impossible.
Mm-mm, nothing. Absolutely.
Impossible itself spells I am possible. Let's
Absolutely.
let us all, parents, teachers, students, all of us, come together and try to normalize what we are losing upon. Be calm, be composed. Everything is going to happen.
Yeah. There's a do, and even any drop that is added, any one small little thing that we do as a part of our initiative, I think it's a lot at this point of time. Even one little thing somebody gives as a support. I think it's a lot at this time, and anything that comes your way, I think grab it with both hands.
Yes,
We
definitely.
don't let go. Yeah.
Definitely. With this line of ma'am, we end our session today. Tomorrow, we will be having somebody else from another part of the world. Very soon, you'll come to know who that person is. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
lovely.
and namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, Rina. Thanks a lot. And it's a pleasure talking to you all the time, anytime, whenever you call. I think there's a lot of learning that we do when we talk, I'm sure you appreciate that. Every time you either connect or I connect with you, there's so much that we
We
talk
come up with
and something does come.
some idea. We come up and we do implement.
Yeah, something really good comes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good
Like,
night. And
so probably I think that is for like-minded people. Okay. Thank you so much.